Welcome, welcome! It's Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy bringing you another Star Citizen video. And today we're going to talk about Death of a Spaceman, as you can see on the screen. Why are we going to talk about Death of a Spaceman? Well, yesterday in one of my Professions of the Verse video, my Mercenary video, a lot of you in the comments have posted all sorts of feelings about the PermaDeath mechanic. As you can see, this article was written in 2013, so I'm sure some aspects of it have changed, but mostly it hasn't, because they haven't put out an update for it. Why am I discussing this? Well, like I said, in the video yesterday, a lot of you guys had some frustration, some anger, some mixed feelings about the permadeath mechanic I was talking about. So I thought I would do this video to kind of clarify things and to maybe put some of you a little more at ease, or maybe it'll piss some of you off more. I don't know. But I wanted to go ahead and do this video right now so that some of you guys could understand the permadeath mechanic a little bit more and where it's coming from. So Chris Roberts wrote this article in 2013 called Death of a Spaceman, and it talks about the feel that he wants for the game, especially when it's concerning death. He talked about games like Mass Effect and Gears of War that allowed you to go back to like 2 or 3 seconds before you died and replay from there. And then he also talked about what made Wing Commander and Privateer, feel right for death for him. It was if you died in the middle of a mission, you would have to repeat the whole mission, or if you died at the end of a mission, you have to repeat the whole mission. So there was some consequences for dying. You would have to, in Privateer, you'd have to make it to another space station before you could save. If you died, you'd go back to the previous one that you were at. He talks about how Demon Souls has a different system, which he felt was a little more harsh. He said, Eve has a cloning system, which isn't harsh at all. You have unlimited lives. So he goes through all these different games and the death mechanics that they have, and he comes to a conclusion for what he wants for Star Citizen. He wants death to be a consequential thing. He doesn't want you to just go about the game never scared to die. There's got to be consequences for the actions you take or the decisions you make. So yes, permadeath is a thing in the game, but, and that's a big B-U-T, it's not going to be something that happens super often. The way he envisions it is you will die many times before your character suffers a permanent death. And if you have a permanent death, you will have a beneficiary that will inherit all your stuff. Everything you've collected in the game up to that point will be passed on to a next of kin or whoever you've designated to be your beneficiary. So when you create your character, you're going to create a beneficiary as well. So you'll need to have somebody in mind if you want it to be a family member in the game. I'm not passing my stuff to my brother, but I'll pass it to a in-game lore family member or friend or some such. So that's what you're going to do when you create your character, and that way it sets up, a place for all your stuff to go. They don't talk exactly about whether you're going to need another game package or NPC specifically for that in the article. I know later on they do mention that you can designate one of those NPCs to become the beneficiary from a game package that you have bought. So if you don't know, when you buy a game package, you get an extra character slot or an NPC that you can customize. So some people have quite a few packages, so they'll have quite a few character slots for different characters. If you want to have a pirate, you can have one. If you want to have a military guy, you can, a farmer, whatever. You've got these different character slots you can use to play the game, or you can designate them as NPCs so that you can you customize the NPCs. And let's say you wanted to have a crew on your Starfarer, you could put all your NPCs, customize them and put them on the Starfarer for an NPC crew. The computer will control them, but they're from your packages or your character slots. Don't know exactly how the death mechanic's going to work for them, because we know NPCs can die. Which gets me to another point. So what actually counts as a death to go towards the permadeath? There are quite a few things, such as if you're in a boarding party and you get shot while trying to board somebody's ship and your teammates can't recover your body, that would be considered as a light death. If you eject from a dogfight, your ship's damaged and you need to eject, and the enemy shoots your ejection pod, that's considered a light death. These kinds of deaths are light deaths. Something that won't count as a light death, according to the article, is, let's say you do manage to eject, but nobody shoots you, nobody exactly recovers you right away. It will not count towards your death pool. You'll show up at your last station and reclaim your ship and all of that. So there are ways that if you, and he says specifically in the article, you should have plenty of time to eject. Of course, if your ship has ejection capabilities. Drake doesn't have ejection abilities, so you want to have a ship that can eject if you're going to be putting yourself on the line a lot. He does say that even in the multi-crew ships, they'll have plenty of time to get to escape pods, usually, to evacuate the ship. I know this is something they want to have in the game, where your ship just starts degrading and degrading, but you have plenty of time to eject or get out or whatever. So we're not there yet, obviously, in the mechanics of the game, but they want it to be there. That's the goal. So that is part of light deaths and things that won't count towards deaths. So let's say you are on a boarding party and you get shot, but your teammates are able to pull your body out and get you to a med bed or heal you up. Even though you were technically dead because you couldn't do anything, that will not count against your lives or deaths, or whatever you want to call them. That would be not even a light death, because you were rescued, so to speak. Same thing, like if somebody's boarding your ship and you get shot, as long as they're able to get rid of all the boarders, then you'll be able to be saved and it won't count as a death. You'll have quite a few of these deaths before you suffer permanent death. And they said that whenever you do have one of these deaths, and you can't, so let's go back to the boarding. Let's say you get shot in the head. You can be permanent death from a shot to the head, they said. But that's going to be rare that it happens. Usually you'll have to replace a jaw or an eye or something like that with, a cybernetic or a fake limb or whatever, a fake appendage. So that's going to be a thing. So let's say you're a battle-scarred veteran. You've had several deaths, and you've had to replace an arm, replace an eye, maybe even replace a leg, because you've died a few times, and you're getting close to your permadeath. They said there are ways within the game itself for you to get back some of your lives. So let's say that's the situation. You're grizzled, you've had a few deaths, and you're like, oh man, I need to do something about this. I'm tired of having a cybernetic eye. There will be systems and doctors you can go to have that eye replaced with a natural eye, grown from your stem cells or whatever. So you would go to that doctor, and probably with a great amount of money and effort, they could replace that eye for you, and you would get back one of your lives. Or they could replace an arm for you and get back one of your lives. They said you could do it through missions, through doctors, through a few different aspects of the game. So yeah, if you die a few times and you want to get back some of those lives, so to speak, then you can go and do these missions or go see these doctors and get back some lives. But permadeath can still happen with one shot, so to speak. So always have that in the back of your mind. This whole permadeath thing is only just to make you have a little trepidation before entering into situations that could lead to losing one of your lives. I mean, let's take the 890 jump mission, for instance. It's got 20 enemies on the ship. Generally speaking, if the enemies were smarter, the AI was smarter, you're probably not going to want to do that mission solo. Unless you're just a bad son of a gun with a gun, and you walk in there like Rambo and you're able to take everybody out. Which is, that's going to be a thing. Sure, people are going to be good enough to do that. I mean, right now, it's not that hard to do. But in the future, it may be more difficult to do that because the AI is going to be smarter. They're going to use cover. They're going to move. They're going to change weapons. They may throw grenades at you. So death could be a very big possibility when you're facing 20 enemies alone. So you may rethink going and doing the 890 jump mission when that becomes a mechanic, when permanent death becomes a mechanic. Because you could easily lose, one life, or you could get permadeath. So that you're supposed to have puckering moments, I guess you could say, or trepidation when taking on certain missions by yourself. Now, they said this game's being built around combat in the article. A lot of things have happened since 2013. It's not going to be all about combat, but there needs to be a combat base to the game where it's balanced around ship fighting, around first-person shooting, that sort of thing, and everything else is flavor. If you got an engine that can support the battle mechanics, then it's not so hard to get the other mechanics in there, at least in my opinion. I'm not a developer, so take that with a grain of salt. But yes, so dying can be a permanent thing, but it's going to be kind of rare that it happens. People are going to know to kind of pump the brakes. If they're getting in over their head, you're going to want to run. You're going to want to get away. You don't want to suffer a death needlessly. This game is not one of those games that you can just go in willy-nilly all the time. Like right now it is, because death doesn't cost you anything. You can claim your ship, and I mean, even if you have a cargo, you're going to lose your cargo, but ultimately you're not losing anything from your character. You're still able to go. You wake up in a bed and you keep going. In the future, it's not going to be so light and so easy. There are a few questions that are down at the bottom of this article. They have a little Q&A that really answers a lot of the questions some of you guys had. What qualifies as a death? Well, not ejecting before your ship blows up, or taking a headshot during a boarding, or having your ejected pilot or escape pod targeted and destroyed while floating in space. Which, by the way, is a big no-no. If you're shooting escaped pods or EVA ejected pilots, that's a big no-no in UEE space. They will put a big bounty on your head and they will hunt you down. So, be sure to be ready to be a pirate if you're going to be doing that. And not even a good pirate. Some of the pirates are going to want to shoot your ass. So, how many lives will you get? Well, the exact number has to be balanced during the development process, but most of the time it's not going to be, just a single death. You're going to get quite a few lives. Half a dozen, something like that. What happens if you disconnect or rage quit? Do you lose a life? Well, when you're going to if you disconnect from the server, however it happens, the server's going to take over and attempt to autopilot. It'll try to escape at maximum velocity and get you away from whatever's attacking you. If it does successfully, then you will when you come back in the game, you'll appear at the last station you were at, and you'll have your ship and everything else. If it's not successful, then most of the time they will say that you were ejected, and an AI or whatever picked you up and saved you. So you won't lose a life. Now, if they find out that you're gaming the system, then they're going to start enacting things on your character. They will lower your life count, etc. What are the penalties for targeting an ejected pilot? So we just talked about that. Helpless pilots, it's frowned upon. You'll have bounties on your head. You're considered the scum of the universe. Everybody hates you. So that's what's going to happen. How long do I float in space before being rescued? Well, when you eject, you'll have the possibility to activate your beacon, your rescue beacon, at any time. So if there's still hostiles around, you may want to wait until they leave before you activate the beacon. So they have here that a little cinematic will play before you're picked up. But I don't think that's going to be in the game anymore because of the player characters. You'll actually have somebody come pick you up, most likely. Maybe not. I don't know. They said that there should be a cinematic that says that a ship comes by, a search and rescue, come pick you up, and save you. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen, really? What happens with a headshot in boarding? So a headshot is more likely to be fatal than any other injury. Boarding a ship is extremely risky. You can gain valuable prize by capturing another player's property, but you're putting yourself at the most risk possible. It's possible you'll just lose an eye or a jaw, but there's very small chance that if you take a laser to the brain, you'll be dead forever. Taking a headshot while defending a ship is usually less fatal. Defending ships will allow their casualties more immediate access to medical facilities. So how will you counteract griefing? So they believe that the system that's in play will automatically de-incentivize griefers. So if a player wants to camp out in a safe area and kill new players, they'll quickly have a bounty on their head, and there will be legal PvP to go after them. So there'll be free game for NPCs, PCs, everybody. Attempting to grief new players will probably hasten your character's permadeath a lot quicker. So they will always keep this in mind and try to balance it out a little bit more, but they think the system itself will de-incentivize people doing that. How can I reduce my chances of dying? Ship upgrades will include a variety of systems designed to increase survivability of the vehicle, including improved ejection systems, improved spacesuits, personal shielding, better power plants to give you more time to escape, various automated systems. You can set an ejection after a certain amount of damage. That's kind of a neat feature. There'll also be an upgrade system surrounding battle damage, so if your character loses an eye and arm, you would be a natural replacement. You could look for a natural replacement rather than a cybernetic looking implant. You'll be able to pursue these in different markets. Additionally, there may be medical procedures or transplants to increase your lifespan and actively or effectively give you new lives back. Is there any way to opt out of the death system? There's no way to opt out of it. That's it. There's a permadeath and you just have to deal with it. Will multi-person crews be able to escape the destruction of their ships? Yes, I have plenty of time. We kind of talked about that. Can I rescue or tractor in an ally? Yes. If you have room, you can recover the ejected friend. They can become part of your crew or whatever. There's some ships out there that have the tractor beams that are capable of doing it. Cutlasses. Most Drake ships have some sort of tractor beam, at least the mid-size and up. So they're definitely capable of doing that, and most of your medical ships will as well. What happens? I am captured rather than rescued. So you can get captured and go to prison. You can get sold into slavery and you'll have to purchase your freedom. So there's supposed to be several different gameplay mechanics based off of that. Are you concerned that the fear of permadeath will scare players away from combat? No, they are building a combat game and going to do everything possible to encourage players to dogfight and otherwise battle each other. In most dogfights, even if your ship is destroyed, you won't lose a life, as very likely you will eject in time. Waking up in a med bay with a new limb should be a rare occurrence unless you really like to live in the most dangerous and unregulated parts of the galaxy. The fear of permanent death will cause some anxiety, which will add to the overall experience, but it will be more than countered by the potential rewards. In a world where everyone is vulnerable, no one has an advantage. I already created a backstory for my character. I don't want them to die. We're letting you know these plans early on so that you can incorporate them into your characters. Note that your next of kin need not be family members for anyone hoping to roleplay a lone wolf type character. Will I need to play through Squadron 42 a second time with a new character? Because I talked about, you know, how you become the citizen Squadron 42. No, the citizenship will pass along with the credits, the starter ship, and all that. But your beneficiary, if he were a citizen, they'll pass that along, but you'll have a probation period that you'll have to perform some sort of action or mission to keep your citizenship in good standing. You'll have the option of playing a second campaign, but you don't have to. So that's basically what you're looking at in the Death of a Spaceman mechanic. Hopefully I've answered a lot of your questions and put some of the fears, you know, put them down a little bit. I know it's still confusing because they don't have it in the game yet, but eventually it'll all become even more clear as time goes on. So guys, just, you know, don't worry about it right now. And really, they don't want you to worry about it then either. Just play the game, have fun. Just be a little trepidatious at times when you're going into it, to certain situations, knowing that, you know, it could take a life. But know that you can also get some of those lives back. So guys, if you have more questions or thoughts on this, leave it in the comments. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You know, hit the little bell to let you know whenever I post new videos. I'm going to do a subscriber giveaway very soon, so be prepared for that. Anybody that's interested in getting the giveaway, start posting in the comments. I'm going to take a look at those comments. People in the comments will get an entry in, like an extra entry into the giveaway. Now, you're not going to get one for every single comment you make, but you'll get a few extra entries for posting comments. I think that's fair. Also, I will be doing my first stream, live stream. It'll be on March 7th. I'll probably be doing it on Twitch. So, because I just know Twitch a little bit easier, I'll try to do. I don't have a lot of the fancy stuff that a lot of the popular streamers have, you know, with cutscenes and all that. I'm working on getting a few cutscenes. I don't even have a good interactive logo. So I need to work on some of that. But yeah, I plan on doing that. I'd love to have as many of you come over and watch as possible. That would be awesome. I don't want to be sitting there with just 1 or 2 viewers. I've had that happen before in other games. Kind of, you know, it is what it is. You have to walk the walk a little while before you get the audience. I understand how it works. I've been doing that with here in YouTube. So I'm Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you out in the verse.